Welcome out to our weekly conference call, our Mastermind call. So I'd say that a good 2/3 of the leaders that normally are on this call are at the leadership retreat in California. I went to a couple weeks ago. I went with some of our diamonds out to the Orlando leadership retreat, and so Rod and I switched up on this particular call. But so a lot of them are gone. And so that's good because a lot of you on the call that may have not had a chance to participate as much as you would like to in the past, you're going to get your chance now. So today's call is going to be on how to discover and overcome concerns. This is I used to train on this a lot when I first got started in doTERRA, and I had some people on my team that were asking for this training again because people need to know how to do this. And what I want to do is let me just kind of give you some background. So I actually created a sales methodology called integrity-based selling years ago when I owned a summer sales company where I would hire a whole bunch of college-age students to go out and sell door to door. And in fact, I got my start in sales was door-to-door sales just when I was going to college myself. And there was this perception in the industry that all sales were dirty, meaning that, it's okay if you fib here or that or whatever. And I was very disturbed by that. One time I actually was at a door. I knocked on this door and I told this guy something to the effect, I was a terrible salesperson, but basically I said something to the effect of, hey, I know most salespeople are dishonest, but this is I'm being honest with you when I say that this product, blah, 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 blah. And the guy actually came out, put his finger in my chest, and he goes, I am a salesperson. Don't ever talk about our profession that way ever again. And that was kind of an important moment in my life because I realized I'm like, sales is actually a very noble profession if you choose to take it there. And so what I wanted to do was to create a way to be very successful in selling that would also preserve relationships, not even feel like selling, to be honest, and also that would most importantly maintain the integrity of both the seller and the buyer. And so integrity-based selling, most of it came down to the art of asking really good questions, listening really, really well, and helping the person overcome fears and concerns so that they could make the right decision for them. And so let me just kind of break this stuff down. And if you have a piece of paper with you and a pencil or pen, I'm going to be explaining some concepts that would be helpful for you to take notes with, and also that you might want to draw some things out. So let me explain the first principle of how to identify and overcome concerns with integrity. The first thing is that you have to be sold out to doing what is in the best interest of the person that you're talking to, even if it means them telling you no. And so if you can get behind that you're going to do the best thing, that you're going to make the right choice that's in the best interest of the person that you're talking to, that's the first step. And secondly, what you want to do is understand that helping people make good decisions that are going to bless their life is a good thing to do. It's actually called leading. And so a lot of times people say, well, I hate sales, but then they say, but I want to be a great leader. Well, just so you know, a great leader is a leader who sells their followers on their vision and where they're going. And so selling is the art of helping people make the right decisions, even if it means buying a product, right? And the same thing with leading. Leading is helping people make the right decisions for their life. And so let's talk about this. So before I get started, what I want to do is I want to open it up a bit to the mastermind. And I want to ask the mastermind, what are some concerns that you hear? So when you're out there and you're trying to get someone to come to a class, or they've been to a class and you're trying to get someone to enroll, or you have someone who's enrolled and you're trying to get them to build the business, or you have someone that's building and you're trying to get them to do something. What are the concerns that hold people back? Hit *5* to raise your hand, and I'm going to just start writing down some of the common concerns that you deal with, and then we'll discuss how to identify and overcome those concerns and help people make the right decision for them. So *5* raises your hand if you have some of those things that you'd like me to address. Okay. There's a 480 area code, and I just unmuted your line. What are the concerns that you'd like me to talk about?
This is Tracy, and I had a person that wanted to know about the rumors of doTERRA not being of integrity and unethical practices. How do I handle that?
Yeah, so when the doTERRA, when their integrity comes into question.
Right. They're questioning doTERRA's integrity.
Okay. Okay, great. Is there
both
anything
in the
else,
product,
or is that?
Well, both in the product and the company. They want to make sure that they're getting pure oil and not something that's tainted of any kind. Yeah.
And is it so? Most of the concerns that come from around this are typically things spread by Young Living. Is that right?
Yes.
And are the people that you are discussing, that you're talking to? So this is the concern that they're bringing up. What is it stopping them from doing? Is it stopping them from enrolling, or what is it stopping? Or is it stopping them from wanting to learn about it? What is that concern stopping your customers from doing?
Well, it was holding her back from enrolling, but I actually was able to get her to enroll in this because I felt that the products were great products, and I just told her on how I felt about the product.
Okay, good.
And how the company treated me. So.
Great. So let me ask you, how did you overcome that concern for her? Because she ended up enrolling, and you told your experience with the product and the company, right? Is there anything? What did you say that helped her overcome those particular concerns?
Well, I told her about how I know the products have worked for me, and that also, like, the company has done wonderful things in trying to help me to build my business. And also, I had gotten into doTERRA years ago, but then then I stopped using them, but I missed the product. And so I wanted to get back into using the product because I know how good they are. Because I've used so many different others.
Right. Good.
But now I'm back into doing doTERRA, and I'm committed to doTERRA.
That's great. Okay. Well, it sounds like you did a fantastic job of overcoming her concerns, Tracy. So good job.
Thank you.
But I can still address it, though. So thank you. I will address it, or I'll have the mastermind address it as well. Okay. Thank you. Are there any other concerns that people have that are difficult to overcome? Maybe in your, maybe if you're trying to figure out why a person won't do something or why they won't come to a class or whatever it is. What are the concerns you're dealing with? *5* will raise your hand. Okay, we have a 574 area code. And I just unmuted your line. Go ahead.
Hello, this is Janet from Southern Indiana. I have
Hi.
wonderful people who want to build, and one lives like in Hawaii, and I'm in South Bend. So that presents a problem as far as trying to help her out. But along with that, she and another one of my builders don't have much money. They just can't invest in the products to know what to do, and so therefore I feel like I should be buying the products for them, which gets a little expensive. And then the other one in South Bend that wants to build she has 5 kids. So it makes it really difficult for me to encourage her to help her out. And then the third one is going to be getting married, so she's very preoccupied with her wedding, and I just can't seem to get any of the 3 of them to get moving, and I don't know what to do to get them moving.
Okay. All right. So let me just let me summarize what I heard. So you have 3 people.
Yes.
One of them, they did not have very much money. That was what was holding them back.
Yeah, 2 of them don't.
I'm sorry. 2 of them don't have much money, and then one has 5 kids, and so finding the time to do it, that's the problem. And the other one is preoccupied with the wedding that's about to happen.
Yes.
Do you have, now, are all of them saying that they would like to build a business, but these are the reasons they're not?
They're all saying that they want to build, and they're not telling me the reasons that they're not. I just can't seem to be able to get them, to have a class with me and, to get moving. They are sharing and talking about it, and 2 of them really know a lot about the oils. They almost know more than I do. So they have all of the right stuff except lack of money and lack of time.
Okay, great. Perfect. Thank you. Did you say Shannon? Did you say that's your name?
Janice.
All right. Thanks, Shannon.
Okay.
Okay, I will cover those, just so you know. I'm just gathering some stuff up here first, and then I'll go from there. Okay, I just unmuted a 703 area code. What are the concerns that you're dealing with?
Okay, so
Hi.
a concern, this actually has to do with I guess me as a leader or a business leader. And that is, how do you bust a fear complex, say you set your goal, right, and working toward it, but you kind of feel like, well, you don't reach it. Say you don't reach it, and then you're like, okay, well, I need to keep working. I need to pick myself up, and I need to do all the right things and, tell myself that I'm going to reach it. But then, it kind of basically just takes longer than you want for you to reach your goal. And for some reason, I don't know if this happens to other people, but it stirs a sort of fear inside that I think is not helpful. So I'm just wondering if other people experience that, and if you have some advice, to how to just be confident and just, move past that insecurity.
Yeah. So let me, and I'm assuming these are your concerns, right?
Oh yeah. These are mine.
Okay. And let me ask you, so let's say that it's taking you longer to reach your goal than you thought. So what are you afraid of?
You want me to just say that?
The what again?
Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid, I think, of, quite frankly, not reaching the goal. I'm just afraid to go back and being afraid to be stuck.
Right. So are you afraid of putting a whole bunch of time and effort into something and not having, and for nothing?
Yes.
Okay. So I have David Ellis and Courtney Moses on the phone right now. Those are the other 2 diamonds. Oh, Brian Teskey's on the phone as well. Okay, cool. So I have some other diamonds that are on the call, but I just I just want to chuckle a little bit with my other diamonds. I don't know, guys. Did it take longer than you thought it would?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
It is.
Right? It hasn't happened. And it was 2 years ago this hasn't happened.
Yeah, exactly. Just so you know, I didn't ask for your name. What was your name? The one that gave that concern?
Oh, my name is Kiara.
Hey, Tiana, I just wanted you to know. Oh, yeah.
And we're not laughing at you, we're laughing with you, because, like, we're totally
Yeah. No, I'm more laughing at me. It's like, I've been through that exact same thing. It's like, this is taking way longer than I thought it would. Oh, man. Totally.
You guys
I
are
get
awesome.
your fear.
I'm looking forward to hearing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is great. Yeah, I will cover that. I'm just, like I said, I'm just gathering some fears. Hold on. All right,
I
Cheryl
can't
Turner,
wait to talk about that one as well.
I know, me too. I'm like going crazy in my seat right now. I'm like, we have to get more. Can we just address this right now? Like, this is going to be so fun.
Sure, okay, fine. Let's do it. Cheryl, you'll have to wait a little while.
No, it's okay.
So
you can get more.
So okay, Cheryl, go ahead. What are some of the concerns you want help with?
Well, some of the concerns that I seem to face, and it's a feeling within me, but it's also something that manifests in the people that I enroll, ironically enough, is that kind of what you mentioned in the very beginning, Seth, about that salesman persona or reputation. A lot of the people that I enroll, when they're addressed with the question about whether they want to build or would they ever consider building in the future, probably the first answer that I get from most everybody is, I'm not a salesman. I don't want to sell. I don't want to be in people's faces. I can't sell. And
yes.
And then for myself, the concern is, how do you get past that with people being that salesman, you know, when you're approaching someone? Because there are people who are willing to give oils away at cost or for free. And, you know, where I'm trying to build the business, and how do you, I guess, you know, and I do some of that as well. But there are people who will come to me, and if they see me as wanting to sell, you know, if they think or have a preconceived notion that I'm trying to sell them something, they will go somewhere else.
Right.
So my concern kind of revolves around that salesman mentality. How do I get past it? You know, not wanting to give that impression to people. You know, and it has been a block for me. I admit that. It has been a block in building. Because I hear comments like, well, if this is something that you're passionate about and you really love it and it has helped you, shouldn't you be willing to help people for free? And I know that's been addressed on the Mastermind numerous times, and I appreciate that. And it has helped me tremendously. But there's still a bit of a block there. And then
So let me get some clarity. So when you're saying that the block you have, by the way, I get that. People say, in fact, I'd say that's probably one of the number one concerns I hear is people say, I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to sell. I don't want to, you know, that type of thing. The reputation of what it takes to sell is scary to people. But the second thing I was trying to understand you a little bit better, and that was doing something for free. Are you talking about giving away the oils for free, or what were you talking about?
Yeah, basically that if I have the oils, I should be willing to give somebody a bottle of lemon, or I should at least be able to let them have it at my cost, no questions asked, forever, you know.
I see.
That they can just come to me and get it at my cost.
Okay, so the second concern that I'm gonna put some words into this, and that is, how do you let's see here. It's, oh man, maybe Courtney or David could help me, but it's.
I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's empowerment versus enablement.
Yeah,
that's exactly what she's talking about right now. It's do you want a handout forever? Do you want to be the welfare system, or do you want me to empower you? And when you get that in your brain first, oh my goodness, that's all, like I'm dying over here. I would love, yeah.
Well, how do you get them to see though, David? How do you get them to see that if they're buying it from you, that's not handing it to them? They are buying it. They just want it at my cost. They want to save 25%. They just don't want to enroll. They don't want the commitment, the monthly commitment. They don't want to have to be a member.
Yeah.
They just want to get it at my cost. And I'm not giving it to them. I'm selling it to them, at my cost. So do you see
I will tell you,
where there's a fine line there?
Uh-huh. Yeah. It almost I'm going to give away the farm here. Every one of these concerns are resolved by one thing. It's called education. It's education.
Yep.
They don't know what they don't know. So they don't know that they're missing out on a boatload of opportunities, a boatload of free stuff, a boatload of benefits by signing up. And so it's a matter of sitting down with them and saying, you know what, I can do this. I can have you come over to my house once a month and pick stuff up at my cost, but let me show you what you're missing out of. And when you see what you're missing out of and what I'm gaining by you doing that, hey, I'll do it all day, right? If you want to drive to my house every month and pick up your stuff and I get all the rewards points and I get all these benefits, it's education. It's sitting down with them and saying, okay, the reason you want that is because you don't know what I know. Let me teach you what I know. And then you can decide what you want to do. But until you know what I know, it's tough for you to make a great decision. So let me teach you. And you get excited about teaching because it's education.
Cheryl, one other way to do that too, like when anybody ever asks you, like if they say they want to buy an oil, the first question I ask to them is if they haven't been enrolled is I'll just say, would you like to buy that wholesale or retail? And I'm not giving them and then when they say, well, wholesale, I'm like, okay, well, let me show you how that works. And then I show them the benefits of becoming a wholesale member. And so sometimes when they express an interest in buying something, then then all you have to do is ask them how they want to buy it. And then most of the time they're going to tell you that they want to do it wholesale and then say, well, this is how this works. And now, to your point, though, I think, Cheryl, you brought up the fact that sometimes people will say, well, I have a friend up the street, and they will let me buy it from them at their cost. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Exactly.
Or even just a friend. It's like, well, I'm your friend. I don't really have to get that account. Like, can't you just get that for me, right? And so I get what you're saying, and I'm gonna soften this up just a little because we have the two males right here, right? Right. So I'm gonna add a little nurturing to this for a minute, okay? So I agree with what Seth and David are saying here. I just want to add one little aspect to this. And I went through this in the beginning too, right? Because I was so worried. It came from internal of not valuing myself, not valuing my time, and not valuing the pipeline that I was trying to create. So I had a weakness within me that I didn't value me. So I couldn't value the other things I was working on. And when I started valuing me, my time, my business, my pipeline, that started radiating outward, and people no longer ask me for things like that. So part of this is how much do you value what you're doing, and do you understand what you're doing and working on? Because people will sense that when they're around you, and they'll think that they can ask you questions like that. So I had to start practicing certain things in front of the mirror, on how I would respond to people. So part of it is getting you equipped to respond to people in a way, right? And so I would just start saying things over and over again, And so when people ask me about that, if I could, do it at my cost, I said I do a one-time courtesy order at my cost, but if you find that you're getting the results that you want with essential oils, then you're better off to get your own account. This is my business, and the reason why I've created this is to give me more time and freedom, and I simply can't manage everyone's orders individually. And so I just got really good about saying things like that in front of the mirror, and so it came out. I was prepared. When they asked me, I was prepared with the answer. And when I explain that to people, they're like, oh, yeah, okay, I get that. No problem. But it's because I started valuing myself, and they saw that, and they started respecting that. So just know that everything that we're talking about today all starts with that internal belief in ourselves. And if we start valuing that, whatever we believe inside is going to start radiating outside. So we have to shift the internal.
Hey, Courtney, with all that said, Courtney, that script that you just shared was nails. Do you mind if you shared that again? So if someone asks you that and you say, I do a one-time, start at that point.
Yeah, so I just say I do a one-time courtesy order at my cost, and if you find that sorry, now you got me all like blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I say I can do a one-time courtesy order. However, if you find that you're getting the results that you want with essential oils, you're better off to get a membership and be able to purchase those at your own, I don't even remember how I say it now. Now you got me all like flustered here. Be able to purchase those on your own, and I just tell them this is my business, and the reason why I chose to do this is to have time freedom, and I can't simply manage everyone's orders. And so it's just a very nice way to be able to express to them, that logistically I couldn't even do that. What if everybody wanted me to do that for them? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then people are very good about respecting that.
I also like the fact
can I add one thing?
Yeah, sure. I was just gonna let me just say this real quick, and then you can
go,
David. But I was just gonna say I like the fact that you're not just being a jerk and saying no. You're saying, yeah, I allow someone a courtesy order, but if you get the results that you want, it makes sense for you and me, right? It's because it respects my time and yours, And I think the fact that you're basically saying, look, I'm doing this to become free. I actually think that may actually intrigue them more about the business themselves, when they realize it's not just an Avon business or something like that. Go ahead, David.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that, and that's the powerful like psychology. What Courtney just gave you, the psychology behind all of it. One of the things that I've also said that's easy, like it's an easy thing to say to help people understand. Like I said, it's just education, is this idea of tie it to something that they already are doing and understand. And so I'll ask people, I'll just say simply, when you order on Amazon, how does that work? Like, well, I just get online and order, and it comes right to your door, right? How convenient is that? And just tie into something they already understand. Because then it's just like, you know what, you don't want to drive and meet with me and find me and catch me and coordinate our schedules. And like Courtney said, and could you imagine if I was doing that with 10,000 people that order up from me every month? That's impossible. And so what they've done is they've made it very simple, just like Amazon, where you jump on, you order what you want, and they ship it right to your door. It's awesome. And so correlate it to something that they already do and understand.
Right. Thank you. Hey, really good concern, Cheryl. We'll address it a little bit more. We have one more person with their hand raised. I want to get these concerns, and then I want to work with the Mastermind to help overcome those concerns. I think the way you say your name is Petrea. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Good job. Wow. Hi. My question is really about getting results from questions. I feel like everyone on the Mastermind is like the king and queen of like wonderful questions. And I think that is, I just am finding that I want answers from people, but I feel like I need more information on the questions I'm asking. I mean, I use the questions, in the Getting Started guide and stuff, but I'm looking for a resource to teach me effective questions.
Good, great. In fact, I'm going to cover that. Before we actually overcome some of the concerns that have just been laid out, I'm going to give you some ways to formulate good questions. So thanks for bringing that up. All right, for time's sake, let's see here. There is one more hand raised. It's a 509 area code, which is Washington, so I have to say yes because that's where I'm from, and it's just, I have a weak willpower when it comes to that. Well, yeah. Who is my fellow Washingtonian? Go ahead.
My name is Chastity, and I just started sharing the business, and I just got onto the call, and I primarily structured my connections online because that's just how I function, is through like my Facebook and my Instagram and social media and stuff like that. So I've actually had really good results, and by just started sharing, I mean like I started doing it 2 weeks ago. So I have friends from kind of all over the place, in Phoenix and other areas, and so I'm trying to utilize video conferencing to be able to present the oil class. And it works out good. So, but I'm losing.
So what kind of concerns are you running into?
My concern is the personal connections that I have already established with these people, I think, are what help it turn out well. So I've just started, asking everyone, hey, can we do, a couple people of your friends, to kind of kick this off and do a bigger group. I would like to know how to increase the personalization within the video conference. Just if anybody has a great way of integrating a group, because I've only done one group and it's hard to personalize.
Yeah. Okay.
Really hard to personalize.
So your question is how to personalize a video group class?
Yes. Because right when you get to that bottom pyramid, yes, thank you for excellent interpretation there. Because when it gets down to that pyramid area, that to me seems more one-on-one type of conversation. And I thought, okay, let's try to utilize the chat. Everyone, I'm going to explain this pyramid thing to you and chat back. But it's a little bit overwhelming. So,
all right.
Any ideas?
So we can address that as well. Thank you. Great question. I'm not even certain that I know the answer, to be honest. So hopefully everybody has their paper in front of them, and this is what I want you to do. Okay. I should have, to be honest, as I'm thinking about this call, I should have described this first before I asked for concerns, because there actually is, the first thing you need to know how to do is to actually find and discover the concern. Many times we ask people to do certain things and then they say no, and we never know why they did or didn't do it. So people come to a class and they don't enroll, and we ask them if they'd like to, and they just say no, thank you, and then we have no idea what the reasons are. Or whatever. Or even worse is that we actually start making up reasons for them in our head. Like, the reason they didn't call me back was because of this. The reason they didn't sign up was because of that. And we start to put our own concerns on them instead of knowing for sure what's stopping someone from doing it. So on a piece of paper, what I want you to do is just kind of what a pair of scales looks like? Like Lady Justice is holding up a pair of scales. Just kind of draw a pair of scales, okay? And on one side of the scales, you can write the word key concerns, and on the other side of the scale, you can write the words key benefits. And basically, and if you're wondering, so key concerns are the things that keep a person from doing anything. All right, so maybe underneath of the scale, on that side of the scale, you could write these key concerns keep someone from moving forward. All right, and on the other side, the key benefits are the things that cause someone to move forward. So concerns keep you from moving forward. Key benefits are what cause you from moving forward. All right, now every single concern that's been listed up today about what's stopping someone from doing something, those are the concerns. They are the things that are keeping someone from moving forward, whether it's concerns about doTERRA and the product or the fact that they aren't a salesperson. Okay? Now, when you so let's say that you would like someone to get a wholesale membership, to enroll. One of the most powerful questions that you can ask is, have you ever considered blah, blah, blah? All right? So when you start off a sentence and you start it off with, have you ever considered getting your own wholesale membership? So just recently, someone, I think Cheryl was the one that brought up, someone comes to you and they say, hey, I'd like to get product at your cost. Instead of just coming back with a yes or a no, you could say, have you ever considered getting your own wholesale membership? So let's say that you've enrolled someone and you'd like to talk to them about building the business. You could say, have you ever considered creating an income with doTERRA? Have you ever considered, maybe you have someone that thinks they're building the business, you could say, have you ever considered taking your doTERRA business to the next level? Another way to say, have you ever considered, is have you ever thought about? So have you ever thought about those things? Now, the thing that's great about that particular question, have you ever considered, or have you ever thought about, is that it's such a soft way to approach something. You're not saying, do you want to build a doTERRA business? Do you want to get a wholesale membership? Do you want to do this? You're saying, have you ever thought about it? That's all, and that's all that you really need to know. Okay? And also, let me just say this as well. The phrase just curious. So if I were to come to you and say, hey, I'm just curious. Have you ever considered, the phrase I'm just curious seems to disarm most people. I don't know why, but it just does. I'm just curious, but have you ever considered blah, 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 whatever it happens to be. And those soften your question so much so that most people respond, will give you an answer. And so let's say that someone came to a class, right? And I'm following up with them maybe the next day after the class. I'm asking them how they liked the class, and I could say, hey, I'm just curious. Have you considered getting a wholesale membership? And what happens is okay, this is where you have to learn to listen very, very well. So when a person says yes, when they tell you yes, they've thought about it, yes, they've considered it, yes, they have, that's the only thing that you need to know is that yes, they did. And so, like, for example, let me give you an example. Have you thought about getting a wholesale membership? And they say, yes, I've thought about it, but it isn't something we'd like to do. Most people spend all of their time dwelling on the fact that they said, no, it's not. They've thought about it, but no, they don't want to do it. Whereas when I hear that, I rejoice inside because I just heard that they thought about it, that they've considered getting it, that they were interested enough to get their own membership, that they thought differently. They eventually said, no, they didn't want to, but that they considered it. That's what I wanted. That's what makes me so happy. All right, so yes, I've thought about it, but no, I'm not interested. Now, if they say, the minute that they say that they thought about it, picture those scales coming up in front of your mind, and on one side are the concerns, and the other things are the benefits. And so when a person says, yes, I've thought about it, but I don't want to do it, then you could say, okay, great, the scales come in front of me, and then I say, what I'm going to ask it for the concerns, like what tipped the scale in favor of not doing anything or not moving forward. So I could say, here's the question, do you mind if I ask? Okay, start off, that little phrase is magic. Do you mind if I ask what kept you from wanting to do it? Or what kept you from moving forward? What kept you from, what would keep you from doing it, right? So remember, key concerns keep a person from moving forward. So you could say, do you mind if I ask, what would keep you from doing that? Or what's kept you from getting a wholesale membership? Or what's kept you from moving forward with the business? Or something like that, okay? And then what's going to happen is they're going to give you a concern. And so if they say, well, I just don't want to get a wholesale membership, or I could not be I'm not a salesperson, I can't do the business, or whatever it is, all you need to do is understand the concern. That's it. You don't have to overcome the concern at this phase. You just need to understand it. People don't want to be overcome, they want to be understood. And so so all that you have to say Like I'm going to list off some of these things here. One of the concerns was, have you ever considered creating an income with doTERRA? And they say yes, but I just can't do it right now. And I'm going to say, and why is that? And they go, well, I'm getting married next month, and so I'm really preoccupied with the wedding. And all I know is that I now have this concern, and I'd say, okay, is that it, or is there anything else? All right, so I just gave you 2 questions you could ask. Is that it, or is there anything else? And they're going to say no. If they say no to that, then I can do an if-then statement. Okay, so hopefully this isn't getting it over all of your heads, but an if-then statement actually clarifies the concern even further. So I could say, so let's say the person who's getting married, I could say, so if you weren't getting married next month, then this is something you'd want to do right now, right? Then this is something you'd want to do if you weren't getting married. And then if they say, so the if-then is if whatever the concern wasn't a concern, then they would want to do it. All right? And all that the if-then question does is it truly identifies that the person is giving you the true concern, the real reason they're not doing it. And so if a person says yes to the if-then, so if you weren't getting married, then this is something you'd want to do. And if they said yes, if I wasn't getting married, I would be doing this right now, but I got a wedding next month, and I'm just really preoccupied with that wedding. Great. If they say yes to that, then you know that truly is their concern. Let me give you an example. So let's say that I said to someone, have you ever considered creating an income with doTERRA? And they said yes, but I don't want to right now. And I said, okay, well, what would keep you from doing it? And they said something like, my husband is not in favor of this. He wouldn't let me do anything. And I could say, okay, is that it? And they say yes. And I go, now, if your husband was in favor, would this be something you'd want to do? See that I'm just giving them the scenario that would make that concern go away. The scenario doesn't have to be true. I can just say, so if your husband was supportive, then is this something you'd like to do? And if she said yes, and if she said, she would go like this. She would either say yes, and then that's the real concern, or she could say, well, actually, I'm just not a salesperson. And I don't like pushing people. I don't want to introduce this to my friends. I don't want to do that. This is just not anything I will want to do. Now you know that they were using their spouse as a fake concern. They were using the spouse as a shield to the real reason. And so in this case, you could go, oh, okay, well, is there anything else? And then they could say, well, no, that's it. And like, okay, so if your spouse was supportive and if you didn't have to sell to your friends and family, then this is something you would consider doing, right? And then if they say yes to that, then you know what the concerns are. And that's all you need to know is what is on that side of the scale that outweighed the reason that they thought about it. Now, here's the next question, magic question, amazing. Say, now you said that you had considered doing the business before. What caused you to consider it to begin with? What caused you to consider it to begin with? And they're going to come back with the key benefits, the things on the other side of the scale, the reason why they considered it. And so now what's happening, and typically when you ask that question, they're going to say something like, well, what caused you to consider doing the business? Well, finances are tight, or this or that or the other. And then you can say, then you know. So doesn't it make sense that before you try to overcome any concerns or anything like that, first understand the person that you're working with. First understand them. Like I said, people want to be understood, not overcome, right? So when you're saying, okay, and now when you totally understand where that person's coming from, then you can come in with ways of overcoming some of these really important concerns. For example, if I were talking to someone and they had the wedding concern, I would probably say, well, there's two things I could do here. I could say, do you have anybody that you think would be interested that I could work with in the meantime? Let me give you an example. Julianne Ellis, David's wife, she was in her almost 9 months pregnant when she decided to join doTERRA. And when I asked her if she wanted to do this, she goes, yeah, but I can't because I'm going to have a baby and let's start something later. And then I told her, I said, well, if you start now, if you can introduce somebody that we can work with in the meantime, then you can be recovering from your pregnancy while we're helping build your team. And so that was the thing that got her to do something in the meantime. And we ended up finding Janet Marquez from that, who's now a Dynast. And so Janet was the person we worked with in the meantime. I hope this is helpful and making sense to people. I know that it can be a little bit concerning, but let me just say that it works really, really well if you can just master what I just described. And so, with that said, we have some great concerns here. To the mastermind, I want to ask, how would you help Tracy overcome? Somebody were to say, you know what, I'm really concerned about doTERRA's integrity as a company. There's a lot of stuff out there. Young Living says that doTERRA's oils are impure, and they think that the integrity of the company is terrible because some of the people from doTERRA used to work at Young Living. How do you overcome that concern? Star 5-star will raise your hand. Go ahead, David. Yeah.
Can I just add one thing? I think I just want people I want to give a little second witness to what you have just shared there. And not that it needs it, but just that people understand this is the type, what you just laid out is what high executive people in corporate America go and spend $5,000 to $20,000 in a weekend of their time to get what you just laid out. That's how impactful what you just taught is. I mean, that is like, if you can just sit down after this call and internalize what you just heard, your life forever, whether it's doTERRA or not, will be different. That is a formula for relationships. That is a formula for success in everything. Now, that being said, I want to add just one thing that I would add to that helps people, like when you just said, to answer that question, especially when it comes to something that is emotionally charged, which, like integrity and the integrity of the company, that's an emotionally charged thing. And you're initially going to be like, what? And you're going to want to lash out and, well, you got to consider the source. And I mean, it's emotional because your integrity, because you chose doTERRA, is being questioned. And so you're going to naturally just want to just throw them in the ring and, and so what I would add to that is another concept called feel, felt, found. And it's the way that you takes the emotion out of anything that could be potentially emotionally charged. And so what I would say in something like that when somebody says, well, I just don't know about the integrity of the company, doTERRA, and the integrity of the oils, you move it instead of an attack on, well, this is what I know, you say, well, what I have, and you go through the process of feel, felt, found. What I feel when I use the oils, what I have felt in the past, and what I have found. So, all I can tell you, somebody says like that, well, all I can tell you is that what I feel about doTERRA and the things that I've experienced have been X. And I've found that as I use the products, I've had this experience. And it just takes you to a higher level, because the moment you go in and you start to, you degrade anybody else, and it doesn't matter what it is. The moment you go to that level, you bring the conversation to that level. And so I've just found that in that situation, when it has anything to do with something emotionally charged, is keep it high level and go to what you know, what you feel, what you have felt, what you have found, what your experience is, and then just ask them, say, you know what? I'd encourage you to find out for yourself.
Yeah. You know what? This concern actually came up yesterday for me. I was doing a call with a potential builder down in California, and when I was talking to this person, she had been using Young Living oils for 10 years, and she goes, "How would you, Young Living obviously says their oils are better than yours, and so forth." And she goes, "How would you address that?" And what I told her was, I said, "You want to know what? Young Living has amazing products. And if doTERRA didn't exist, I would probably use Young Living oils. They have a very high quality product. And I never say anything bad about Young Living. I said, but my experience is that doTERRA's oils are just, man, as good as Young Living is, and they're pretty awesome, doTERRA's are even better. And I'm like, and the only way that you can find that out for yourself is to try it. And then I tell my own personal story. Like I said, when I first got started in doTERRA, the first person I called was my sister Heidi, and I asked her what she knew about oils. And she had actually she was a Young Living distributor, and I didn't even know it. And she said to me, she goes, well, doTERRA or Young Living says their oils are better. And I said, yeah, doTERRA says their oils are better. And I said, and we made an agreement that we would go with whatever company had the best oils. And I said, and it's really easy to tell. Just get the oils, open up the bottles, and smell them, and you'll be able to tell right away which one is more pure. And I'm like, just let the oils do the talking. And that's all I had to say to her. But I never ever. So just kind of remember when people bring up the Young Living or other products, what I like to do is say, hey, as awesome as they are, doTERRA's is even better. So you're not saying doTERRA is good and theirs is bad. You're saying they are awesome and doTERRA is even more amazing. And so and that way because a lot of times, especially moms, they've been using oils from another company. And so when they hear that they may have been putting bad oil on their children, it's a threat. You're threatening their motherhood, the type of parent they are. And so that's why I always say, that whatever brand they bring up, I'm like, hey, that is an amazing brand. And as good as they are, doTERRA's are even better. And the way to tell is to just open the bottles, and you'll be able to tell right away. And that's just a way to overcome that particular concern. For time's sake, I'm going to move to the next one. What do you do when someone doesn't have enough money? How do you overcome this concern? They don't have enough money to buy the product. They don't have enough money to build the business. They don't have enough money, period. What do you do? I know how to do it, but I want other people to talk.
I know how to do it too, but I want other people to talk. I just want to say one thing. It's value. And so this process that you just laid out, you ask questions, you help people to understand value. If they say they don't have enough money, I have seen people with no money spend money on stupid things. And everybody has the same amount of money. Everybody has the same amount of money. It's called not enough. And so it's when they understand the value, they will do whatever it takes. And so if someone tells me, yeah, I just don't have enough money, but yet I'm going down to McDonald's to buy a Big Mac, do you want to come? You know what I mean? Anytime they say they don't have enough money, it's simply a process of, in my mind, what I say to myself is I have not helped them understand the value. Because someone,
right.
If you knew that that I have the ability to change these oils, if I can help you understand the value, they will change your life and the way you take care of the health and wellness of your family and their kids and their kids and their kids and for generations. If you understood what I understand about them, it wouldn't matter what they cost. It wouldn't matter what they cost. And so I just say to myself, they don't understand the value yet. And then I go through this process that Seth just laid out to help them to find out what is the concern, what is it that they have not understood yet about the value. Because we teach when people understand the value, whether it's of a residual income, like, when you understand the value of residual income, you'll do whatever activity it takes to get there. When you understand the value of the oils, you'll do whatever it takes to buy one oil, two oils, a kit. It doesn't matter when you understand value. And so
I remember
questions to help them understand that.
Actually, David, that's a great point, because I remember when I was over in Ireland, they don't make a lot of money over there. And so when I was talking to people about 100 PV loyalty rewards order every month, they were like, oh no, I could never do that. And yet, when I started digging a little deeper, I found out that people would budget into their budget $50 for beer at the pub every week. And I remember just going, well, you're spending 200 euro on beer. I'm like, this is like, we have to do a better job because they found more value in it than in health, right? And so you're dead on. I mean, people spend money on what they value most. And so if you can help them, so you have to build more value in the product. And that's why some people will say, well, do you sample before the class? And I go, I do sample, but I normally sample after the class. So if someone comes to a class and I have not done my job in building enough value in their mind that the product may work, then a lot of times I'll give them a sample after the class to help them experience the product, go home and have a good experience so they can come back, and then they value the product enough to exchange their money for a kit or for the oils because they've had an experience with the product. I'm so sorry, but we are running out of time. But let me address this one. We have to address this one. The fear complex is taking longer than you want it to. It's a big deal. People are afraid of spending a lot of time and effort on something that may not work, and so they're hesitating to move forward because I just might spend a lot of time and effort into something that may not work, and the problem is that this whole game, it's a faith game. It's all about belief. The entirety of it is belief. So if you believe that this will work for you, then you will go to work and you'll have the experiences that you need to have. And then the positive experiences build more belief, which cause more work, more activity, which builds more faith and belief in where you're going. And so it's like this process. And so doubt, on the other hand, fear and doubt are the opposite of faith and belief. And so just kind of realize that there's these two wolves inside of your body, right? And inside of your spirit, and they're both, one is fear and doubt and one is faith and belief. And the one who wins is the one that you feed. And so if you start to verbalize some of those, the fears and doubts, and you start to feed that wolf, it kills the other wolf of faith and belief. And so you have to decide which one's going to win. And so what you need to do is look around you and look for every reason that this will work. Like I remember when I first started, I met people in doTERRA, and I remember looking at them going, if they can do it, I can do this. If they can do it, I can. And most people then will look at someone who's not like them and go, well, I'm not like them, so I can't. And it's like, wow, you just chose to take the one person that you're not like and use that as the evidence to convince yourself that it won't work. And so then you won't work. Do you see what I'm saying? And so you have got to guard your faith like a little seed. Like when you plant that seed in the ground, you have to guard it like you would you have to nourish that seed. And when it starts to break forth and the little plant is starting to grow, you have to watch out for that plant and tenderly take care of it until that plant grows and becomes a rooted tree and can withstand the wind and the storms that will come. But it is a choice to feed whichever your faith and fear, or your faith, or I should say your faith and belief, or your fear and doubt, and you get to choose which one of those you feed based upon what you say, what you think, what you read, who you surround yourself with, if you're part of this call, or if you're not a part of this call and you're listening to the doubts and fears that are going to overcome you. Courtney and David, did you have any? I know you guys are pretty passionate about that when that was brought up. Did you have anything that you want to add to that?
Well, I was just thinking about my personal experience when I started, and I kind of went through that too. It was like 2 months into my journey. I was like, oh crap, I don't know if I can do this. What if I do this and it doesn't work, right? And I kind of went down both roads. I remember sitting there thinking about it one day, and I'm like, okay, what if 5 years down the road I spent all of this time, all this money in trying to build this pipeline and it doesn't work? What have I gained from this? Like, what if it doesn't work and I don't get that financial gain? Like, what did I gain? And I started writing down a list of things that I would gain from it. And it wasn't a financial loss. That money was going to improve my health and wellness for me and for my family, right? And so these products were saving me thousands of dollars in medical bills, and it was like, personal development. I was going to learn new skills and attributes. I was going to become a better person. And so I thought, okay, so I gained some things, but I didn't get the financial thing that I wanted. Would I regret that? Would I regret that if that's all I had that I gained out of this? And the answer was no, I wouldn't. And then I did the other way around, and I thought, okay, what if I do this and it does work? What do I have to gain? Mm-hmm. And either way, I realized that I couldn't live with the regret. And that's one thing that I always go back to. What if it takes longer? What if it doesn't work at all? What if it just never happens? And I just couldn't live with that regret. And I think sometimes we just need to take a little bit of time to journal and think about that, of what it is we're really gaining out of this and what it is we're not. And I know we've said this before as leaders, that if we were to lose everything, if for whatever reason doTERRA get blown up or whatever, everyone would, lose the financial gain, would we be okay? And the answer is yeah. I'd rather lose the financial part than who I've become and everything I've learned, right? And so I think it's just one of those things that, yeah, there's that fear there, but I had more fear in staying where I was at in life. And and that just wasn't an option. So I think just sometimes you need to look at all aspects of that. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just had to choose to not have that regret and go forward.
Yes. David, do you have anything you want to add to that?
We're out of time, so I'll just make it really quick. I think that people just need to recognize that we are our own worst critic. There's no louder voice in your head than your own. And what Courtney and Seth just shared is brilliant. And especially when Seth talked about this, who's the loudest voice? Is it that you can or that you can't? Because you will convince yourself you're that good. Everybody is that good. They can convince themselves of anything. And so it's just a choice. Am I going to convince myself that I'm going to stay the course, or I'm going to convince myself that it's easier to give up? And then I always have to ask the question, and do what? Give up and do what? Right?
I'm just going to give up.
Because we all have that choice every single day. Yeah. Every single day we have that choice. Am I going to give up and do what?
Right.
Accept mediocrity, accept where I'm at, accept what isn't what I want in my life, or am I going to do something about it? And it's quite simple. Those that succeed in this business, and Seth said it before, you looked at and you saw people like, wow, if they could do it, I could do it. The only difference between those that succeed in this business and those that don't, regardless of the time frame, I'm telling you, I'm so frustrated that it's taking us so long to hit Presidential Diamond. I get what you say when you're like, it's taking me forever to hit silver. Yeah. It's the same. We're all feeling the same thing. And it's that process of sitting back, and I love this quote. This is what I'll end with, because this quote has changed my life. And it's that the reward is the journey. And too often we get wrapped up in the destination, and we're like, man, then if I can get there, then I'll be happy. And you will never be happy because you will never arrive until you're dead. Because it's the reward is the journey. And if you can just sit back and go, you know what? I'm not silver yet. I sure wish I was at that convention or that retreat down in California with all those cool people that I'd love to be down there with. I'm not there yet, but the journey. I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying the people that I get to meet. I'm enjoying the relationships that I'm creating. I'm enjoying the work. I'm enjoying the fact that it's hard, but I'm becoming better. I'm enjoying that. And so I choose to continue taking one step at a time. I'm just going to take one more step. I'm just going to teach one more class. I'm just going to invite one more person. And then all of a sudden, you look back and you're like, wow, look what I've become along the way. And the reward is just that. It's the journey that you're taking. Because otherwise, what are you going to do? Sit at home and eat bonbons and watch Oprah? Can't even do that anymore. She's not even there.
All right. I know we're a little bit over, but I promise there's some people that are waiting for answers on some of these concerns. Because the sales reputation, the person that says, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not a salesman, I'm not that. Let me just tell you a very easy way to overcome this concern. I ask someone, I'll say, when they say, I'm not a salesperson, I'll go, let me ask you something. Do you feel like I've sold you something? Or do you think of me as that salesperson you're talking about? And many times they'll go, oh no, you haven't sold me anything. You've just educated me on the oils. And I'm like, right. That's exactly right. I'm like, and then if that doesn't help them enough, then I'll say, look, this is unlike any other sales job. And the reason why is because in this, when a person chooses in, that's the beginning. In normal sales jobs, when a person decides to buy something, that's the end. That's the last time you see them. And so so they don't care. If you buy a car, they can pressure you into that car because the minute you drive off the lot, you're not going to see them probably for the next few years, if ever. But in this industry, when you choose to buy a kit, that's just the beginning. And so the most important thing is our relationship. And so I educate, I teach, I empower, but I don't sell. I don't feel like I sell anything, because when someone chooses in, that's just the beginning of our journey together. And so don't be afraid of selling, because we don't sell. We create relationships and we empower others. So when you explain that to people, like a lot of times just ask them how they feel about the interaction with you. And if they say, well, that's the problem, you're being a salesperson, you're pushing me, that type of thing, then you know that you might need to change some things up. But generally speaking, people go, well, you must be really good at sales and all this. I'm like, I am good at sales, but let me just say this. I don't feel like I'm selling, because all I do is educate, and people make decisions for themselves. And if I were to pressure someone into this, if I were to be that pushy salesman, sure, they'd buy an oil, but I'd never see them again. But in this, it's when they decide to buy the oil, that's when it's just beginning. And so the relationship is more important than anything. Anyway, I hope that you found that helpful. We're a bit over. Learning these skills is going to take some time. Don't get frustrated with yourself in the process. And I hope that you'll be able to help find and overcome those concerns for people so that they can move forward and better their lives in every way. Thanks, everyone.